Hello friends, very warm welcome to my business laws channel. So friends, this is the third video to the winding up of LLP. In the very first video, I have talked about voluntary liquidation of LLP. And in the second video, I took up the provisions of IBC 2016 relating to revival and liquidation of LLP. So this is the third video. In this video, I'm going to take up winding up by the tribunal or NCLT, or which is also known as compulsory winding up. So according to section 64 of the Act, LLP may be wound up compulsorily by the tribunal in the following circumstances. So these are the grounds for compulsory winding up of LLP. So the very first one is petition by LLP. If the LLP decides that LLP should be dissolved, it should be wound up by the tribunal, then petition has to be filed. And there are various parties by whom petition can be filed. So one point is given here, and other points I will take up subsequently in this video. The second one is number of partners below statutory minimum. At least 2 members should be there in the LLP. If for a period of more than 6 months, the number of partners of LLP is reduced below 2. So it is for more than a period of 6 months, the number of partners in the LLP has gone below 2. Okay, that is also one of the grounds to apply to the tribunal for compulsory winding up of LLP. Third point is inability to pay debts. Friends, I would like to share with you. You also find that note is here. Section 64C, it has been repealed by Section 31 of 2016 with effect from 15th November 2016. And before omission, it stood as if the LLP is unable to pay its debts. Now moving ahead, the fourth one is D point. D is LLP acting against national interest. If the LLP has acted against the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India and the security of the state or public order, that is, LLP has not performed its duties well. LLP has not discharged its duties, keeping in mind the integrity of India, security of the state or public order. So LLP has acted something which is against the security of the state or public order. So that is also one of the grounds for compulsory winding up. Default in filing SAS or AR, annual return with ROC, Registrar of Companies. Now, SAS has to be prepared and maintained by every LLP. So within time limit, within specified time, the copy of the same has to be filed with the registrar, copy of SAS and also annual return. If the LLP has committed default in filing SAS or AR for any 5 consecutive financial years, then also this could be one of the grounds for compulsory winding up of LLP. Now coming to the last point, which is just and equitable. If the tribunal is of the opinion that it is just and equitable that the LLP be wound up, for example, there is deadlock in the management. That is, the persons belong to the management, they are not on speaking terms. The loss of substratum of LLP. That is, LLP has failed to achieve its objective. Or there is bubble LLP. That is, the LLP is without real business or property. So friends, I have discussed all the grounds, which are there for the compulsory winding up of LLP. Moving ahead, for the next heading you find here is petition for winding up. Petition can be presented by whom? Or who can file petition for compulsory winding up of LLP? An application to the tribunal for winding up is known as petition. This is the meaning of the term petition. What is petition? Petition is an application which is made to the tribunal for winding up. According to Rule 26 of LLP, Winding Up and Dissolution Rules 2012, petition for the winding up of the LLP by the tribunal can be presented by any of the following. First one is by the LLP or any of its partner or partners, by any secured creditor or creditor, including any contingent or prospective creditor or creditors, by the registrar, by any person authorized by the central government in that behalf, or by the central government in a case falling under Section 51 of the Act. And the last point is by the central government or a state government in a case which falls under Clause D of Section 64. So you all know I have talked about Clause D of Section 64 in the very first heading. And now the question arises, what are the powers of the tribunal on hearing winding up petition? Number of powers are available to the tribunal on hearing winding up petition. The tribunal, on receipt of such petition for winding up, shall pass an order under Section 273 of the Companies Act 2013. But this order has to be passed within 90 days from the date of presentation of the petition. Now, the tribunal has number of powers. As I have told you earlier, the tribunal can dismiss it. It can make an interim order, that is temporary order for the time being, or appoint a provisional liquidator. A liquidator is a person who is always appointed from the panel which is maintained by the central government. Make an order for winding up, or make any other order in this regard. So these are the various powers of the tribunal on hearing winding up petition. Now friends, the next heading is commencement of winding up. The Companies Act 2013 provides that in case of winding up of LLP by the tribunal or NCLT, it shall be deemed to commence from the time of presentation of the petition for winding up. So the moment petition is presented, from that very time, the winding up of the LLP shall commence. But in case of winding up, voluntary winding up, it shall be deemed to have commenced from the time of passing of the resolution. In my first video to the winding up of LLP, I have talked about in detail about voluntary liquidation of LLP. So friends, you all have known this provision by this time. And now the last heading I'm going to take up, which are the various steps in the compulsory winding up of LLP. There are various steps involved in the compulsory winding up of LLP. In fact, there are 8 points. The very first point is filing a petition to the tribunal, and the same should be issued to the LLP. So friends, I have told you just now that who can file a petition to the tribunal, and then what are the powers of the tribunal on hearing the petition. And this copy of the same should also be given to the LLP, because there are various parties who can present the petition to the tribunal. Waiting for the court hearing on the petition. Now, once the petition has been filed, then in that case, the LLP has to wait for the court hearing. Getting the order from the tribunal for winding up. So the tribunal will look into the reasons why, people are wanting that LLP should be wound up. Or, if the tribunal is of the view that it is just and equitable due to number of reasons, that LLP should be issued the winding up order. Convening a meeting of creditors and other relevant parties. The LLP is required to, the liquidator is required to convene a meeting of creditors and other stakeholders. Appointment of liquidator. So liquidator has to be appointed from the panel which is maintained by the central government. relation of all assets and their distribution among the creditors. Now, liquidators' main function is when the order is placed, then all the assets have to be realized. The business activities will stop. All the assets have to be realized in the market, and the amount has to be distributed among the creditors. Defining the role of liquidator. The liquidator has to discharge number of functions, number of duties. LLP will be dissolved under the supervision of the assigned liquidator. So when the order is passed, then in that case the LLP will be dissolved after getting the order from the NCLT or tribunal. So all these duties have to be performed by the liquidator. In both the cases of winding up process, whether it is voluntary or it is compulsory, liquidator is appointed for winding up of the affairs of the LLP. Because winding up means affairs of the LLP will come to an end. Life of the LLP coming to an end. Winding up is the initial stage and dissolution is the last stage. Assets are realized, liabilities are paid off out of the realized proceeds of the assets as per the rules prescribed. The final dissolution order is passed by the tribunal, and winding up is a long process. It is spread over a period of 7 to 8 months. Number of formalities are required to be undertaken, starting from the first stage of winding up till the last stage of dissolution of LLP. But winding up and dissolution formalities are lesser in case of LLP as compared to winding up and dissolution of the company. This is one of the reasons why the LLP is preferred over the company. So friends, I have completed all the headings relating to LLP, winding up of LLP. In the 3 videos, first video I have created for the voluntary liquidation of LLP. And the second one was, where I discussed the various provisions of IBC 2016. And in this third video, I have discussed the last mode of winding, which was winding up, by the tribunal or NCLT or compulsory winding up of the LLP. So I have talked about various grounds, and then, who can file petition, what are the powers of the LLP on hearing the petition, and then after that, which are the various steps involved in the compulsory winding up of LLP. So 3 questions can be asked from this chapter, friends. The very first question is, which are the various steps which are involved in the voluntary liquidation process of LLP? And the second question is, describe the various provisions of IBC 2016 relating to the revival and liquidation of LLP. And the third is, who can file a petition and what are the powers of the tribunal on hearing the petition. And then after that, which are the various steps involved in the compulsory dissolution of LLP. And also the grounds for compulsory dissolution of LLP. So this is all about winding up of LLP. This is all about this LLP unit, unit of LLP 2008. Friends, when I'll meet you next, then I'll be starting special contracts. So in special contracts, I will cover contract of indemnity and guarantee, contract of bailment and pledge, and contract of agency. I hope you will definitely like the content. If you have any doubt, you can always mention in the comment section. I will definitely answer at the earliest. Do subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed yet. Do press on the bell icon to get notifications of my future videos. Stay healthy always and keep smiling. Okay friends, goodbye. We'll meet soon.